quite honestly, I mean, it'd be churlish for me not to actually be grateful to Rishi to put an 8% cut in the levy. It's an unprecedented cut. But the worst thing about this, and I've been saying on your show and much of the media for a long enough time with Robert Halfon, we must have it passed on. I honestly, so I'd say 1 in 3 garages that I'm hearing actually have done it and cut it. But 2 out of 3 obviously haven't, and we just do not understand that. Obviously, they have bought bulk fuels beforehand. Obviously, they paid the higher fuel duty to the government then. But I would have thought the government could have actually put a deadline, say, for another 3 or 4 days to allow the actual ordering process to be fair on especially the small independents.
Miata Fampula, let's go back to you. You will have been listening closely to Adam Scorer of National Energy Action, who was speaking just before the break. I mean, how concerned are you in terms of the kind of political fallout of this, the societal fallout of this? Do you think there'll be refusals to pay? Do you think there'll be protests? Do you think this coming fuel crisis, this ongoing squeeze in the cost of living could lead to, political unrest?
I mean, look, possibly. Look, I thought Adam really set it out incredibly powerfully and eloquently. The thing you have to remember is that the extraordinary squeeze that we're seeing now comes on top of, a decade in which living standards hasn't budged, particularly those at the bottom end. People who, for example, are reliant on social security, whether that's universal credit or other benefit payments, have seen that cut since 2010. You had that little respite with the £20 uplift, which was taken away last autumn. And then we're seeing an £11 billion real-term cuts to social security because of inflation and the fact that we haven't uprated benefits at the right level. And so, for a lot of people, this is catastrophic. It is catastrophic. And you can't help but feel, when you're hearing stories about some of the awful choices, and as Adam said, it's no longer a choice now. People are like, I'm not heating my home, I'm not feeding my kids. It is quite hard to understand why the Chancellor was so tone deaf to that and did a budget that, quite frankly, didn't help those at the bottom end. His national insurance threshold hike, for example, 70% of people are helped by that. But by the way, the 30% aren't, are those that need it the most. So for me, that's absolutely unforgivable. And I think at some point, people will feel abandoned by this government because, this isn't run-of-the-mill stuff that you can say people just suck it up. It's absolutely extraordinary. And why the Chancellor doesn't see this and doesn't see the imperative to step in and help where he can, because, by the way, he has the headroom, he has the fiscal space to do that. He just chose not to. And that was a political choice. So I think when that hits people, that is where the scope for genuine anger alongside frustration and desperation kicks in.